Hi, so today you are thinking, what product should I come up with? You start always with a problem that you want to solve. Most of the problems on this earth have been solved in one way, shape, or form. There are some that haven't been solved, and they are usually the most complex one, like curing some sort of disease, flying out of space, and even those have been solved in one way or shape or form. And so the easier it is to implement to solve your problem, the more competition you're going to have. And this is where you have to differentiate in the solution that you offer and make it better than others, or choose specific niche who will benefit from the way you solve the problem versus others. Now, enlightened trial and error succeeds over the planning of the lone genius. What it means is that you don't go for the perfect, you are trying out all different ways to see what actually works. When you are messing things up, this is when you learn the most. And so, most likely, your first idea, your initial idea, will transform into something else as you speak to actual people, hearing their problems and why they use one product over the other. There are different ways that you can research your idea. There's direct and indirect research. When we are doing research, you identify customer needs. You also want to validate ideas and hypotheses. You reduce risks so that you don't build something that nobody needs, and prioritize features. So, what we want to do is we first want to start with the indirect search, secondary research, actually, not primary. Primary is actually directly talking to customers, your potential individuals who would be, you think, ideal customers to use it. You start first with ChatGPT, with Google. Google Research has a great tool where it's more papers, research papers that were written on specific topics. And so in this deck that you have on Teachable, you have links that will send you to these tools that you can use. So indirect data is also stored based on your, questions, and you can look up those that data for your topic. I would start with ChatGPT, Gemini, and other LLMs to research your topic, your problem, see what competition is out there. So ChatGPT doesn't gather all these competition that you have today when it comes to these AI new products that are popping up and are your potential competition. I would say after you check with ChatGPT, you want to also Google it and see what AI new tools come up. Include them as your competition. See how they're solving a problem and figure out how you're going to be different. And currently, you don't need to know all of the answers. You just start thinking about these things to see whether there's potential for your product. Afterwards, we will be having an exercise where we create interview questions, learn how to interview the right way the customers, and so this way you get more information about their experience versus yes or no types of questions. So one of the exercises you would want to do is going to be running a prompt. So here you see a prompt in the deck. You are an experienced venture capitalist, product strategist, and market researcher. I will describe my product idea. Your goal is to challenge it critically and assess whether it has real market potential. Please evaluate it across these areas. And so you have not just a prompt where it's, here's the problem I'm trying to solve. Um, Give me a solution, come up with ideas, then it's going to be way too general. You want a high quality prompt. And this is another part of what we are teaching you is how to professionally prepare prompts. So use this prompt create your embed your idea or your idea for a problem, and see what ChatGPT gives you. Currently, ChatGPT is actually the best one when it comes to researching these types of questions. And as ChatGPT finally raised the idea, then you can make your decision. You can run a couple of problem statements and ideas with the same prompt and see which one looks best. Before you start creating an interview questionnaire for your potential customers and users, you want to figure out your objective. What is the main goal of this particular interview? Is it to verify whether your problem statement is correct and is actually valid? And to learn more about the problem, not jumping into your main solution, but hearing what people are saying. For example, if we're talking about scheduling, right? Something about Zoom, let's say. Um, Currently, you have Zoom and there's a bunch of features, but you have to pay for many of them. Mm, and let's say there's a problem of automatic scheduling where you can integrate with other solutions and they can see what has been already scheduled before and how to prioritize which meeting to keep on the calendar and which ones not to keep, right? All these different things. If there's no solution about it, so let's hear the complaints about of people, what challenges they're having with the scheduling. You gather them together, right? And it will matter what types of questions you're going to ask, but they will be all about their experience, about their pains and gains. We're going to talk about the value proposition later on in class. But overall, you've decided on the objective of your interview. If it's a validating an idea, see, there's also a link for that, and you can check out the example. Then you decide, okay, what's my budget? Am I going to be paying for these interviews? Do I just first reach out to my friends who could be my ideal potential customers, and you ask them these questions? Okay, so you have to figure out your target audience. Is your potential solution going to be a B2C or B2B, so business to business or business to consumer? And so based on that, if it's a business to consumer, it's going to be a little bit easier for you to interview people because there's a bigger audience for that. When it comes to B2B, then it's specific professions and professionals that you need to look for, which is also another option. So you figure out your target audience. You figured out, okay, I have budget for marketing this and paying people for the interviews, or I have zero. So we'll start with that. There are different ways to get information and do your market research. One is the desk research, which we just have discussed, of gathering information from the internet, basically. There's another one, whether it's customer observation. So customer observation and customer interview are two different things. Customer observation is when you go with your potential customer who you think would be using this product, and going with them throughout the day, depending on a product. Again, if we take the example of a scheduler, you go with them to their work and see how they schedule things, right? Whether for personal needs or for work, and literally see how they put scheduling in. Show They're showing you their day to day, and this is where you can also ask questions like, "Oh, is this how you do it? Oh, where do you go now?" And so you understand the entire flow. But before that, you do the customer interview that I mentioned previously, and we'll go through the customer interview questions shortly. And then the fourth one is the landing page. So you build a mock-up page and say coming soon and have some sort of a subscribe or pre-register things. So it's kind of your storefront before you build anything to get some potential customers in. So anywhere you go, you market that solution that you came up with in your head, but you haven't built it yet, to see whether there is interest, whether people will at least pre-register to see what you're coming up with, to test out your solution, right? If you're doing marketing, if you're promoting it and there's nothing, nobody's signing up, that's a signal to you that maybe you should be building it. You want to figure out, why are they not coming? Is it my marketing that sucks, or is it that this problem doesn't need a solution? Okay, as I was mentioning about desk research, there's ChatGPT, social media. You want to look into Google Trends, just write Google Trends, and it's a different kind of a page for Google. And this is where you can see the keywords that come up based on your topic. And you can use third-party research reports like Gartner. Gartner has some information that is free, but it's actually mostly paid subscription with a lot of really high professional research. Census gives you all the demographics information about citizens in the US. So it's one of the uh, government websites that you can use to see trends and um, demographics. Data mining through tools. So there's different tools that you can collect data. And if you want to try that out, or if you've done that before, then definitely use that solution.